You know how people talk about getting the right work-life balance? And it's a nice idea, but in reality, nothing achieves absolute balance. Nothing. I wonder what image springs to mind when you hear me use the word balance. I don't know, do you see a set of scales with an equal balance on each side? And when you think about your own work-life balance, what do those scales look like for you? Are they level? Is it even possible to get an equal balance between work and everything else in your life? So here is my controversial opinion. I think it's time to forget all you know about balance and think again. I'm going to throw the theory of work-life balance out of the window because I've got a slightly different approach. I think a balanced life is a myth. I think it's a lie. Balance does not mean that the scales need to be or ever will be level. When I look back at the time when I drove rally cars, I remember how vital it was that the car's weight was distributed evenly so that when I flew over a crest, the nose didn't dip or rise. That way, the car kept as balanced as possible for its best possible performance. But you're not a rally car. And when you think about getting the balance right in your life for your best performance, you've got a lot to juggle, haven't you? Work, family, children, friends, hobbies. If you set out to balance it all exactly as you want, how do you imagine that balance would look? Do you think your life would be so much better if you could achieve a better balance? Do you dream of that lovely level set of scales, everything perfectly set out, so you split your time and energy evenly? Please just forget that approach for one moment. Balancing everything is not realistic. It's not even possible. I think it's time to think again. At some point in your life, you must have said to yourself or to your friends or your colleagues, I need more balance in my life. I bet you have. But what did you actually mean? Did you really mean that something is missing from your life? When we say our lives are out of balance, I think what we often mean is that our priorities, the things that matter most to us, are not being met. Do you think that's true? So maybe balance isn't what we're looking for after all. Maybe we should change our focus away from chasing balance and more towards seeking purpose, meaning, or significance. And here's a real-life example of what I mean. Recently, I coached a client with a top job as a sales director for a major mobile phone provider. She brought home a massive salary. She worked her socks off. She worked crazy long hours. She always seemed to smash seemingly impossible sales targets month in, month out. She was incredibly good at her job and she enjoyed it, but it was hugely stressful. When she got pregnant, she thought, I'm going to need to get some balance back in my life. And with this new baby on the way, she was keen to be a hands-on mom and dedicate herself to the newborn and her other daughter. She really wasn't interested in hiring a nanny. It just wasn't her style. So after a very brief maternity leave with nursery care in place, she went back to work. And of course, she was under just as much pressure as she'd ever been. But now she had a small baby added to the mix. Many of us understand how hard it is to be a working parent, right? So after a few weeks, she was completely frazzled and struggling to balance work and parenting. How would she continue as a brilliant sales director and also to be an amazing hands-on mum? Was it possible to be brilliant at both? She realized that she simply had to choose where and how to split her time to get what she wanted. And the answer became clear. She wanted to be a great mum and spend quality time with her daughter more than she wanted the big fat paycheck and the high-flying stressful corporate job. So she quit. And then it got interesting. She founded a small online business working from home. She realized that chasing the work-life balance, as she understood it, was not a realistic possibility for her at that point. She's now relaxed, happy, a wonderful mum. She's the owner of a successful online business. The reality for us all is that time spent on one thing means time away from something else. And that makes balance tricky. Let me explain what I mean. I'm going to ask you now to stare at an object in front of you. Have a look at that object, find it. It could be a mug, could be anything. Now, at the same time as you stare at that object, I want you to look out of the window. You can't look at those two things at the same time, can you? So try this. Type a message into your phone. Pick it up now. Type a message in. And at the same time as you're typing, say out loud what you want for dinner. You can't, can you? However easy it seems, you must stop one thing to engage in another thing. When you take your vision or attention away from one object and fixate on a new object, like staring out of the window, you'll enter the attentional disengagement zone. When you're driving, this zone is so dangerous. If you split your attention between two tasks, neither holds your focus. Research shows that having a phone conversation while driving affects a driver's visual scanning. It reduces your ability to detect, discriminate, and respond to visual targets by as much as 30%. So please look after yourself and don't do it. Attentional disengagement means that every time your brain is distracted, it takes time to disengage from one action and start another. The more tasks you juggle, the longer your disengagement gets, so you lose a little bit more focus on each task. This isn't just dangerous when driving. Extraordinary results require focused time and attention. When you decide to live in the centre of a balanced line, with those lovely scales all level, you stop yourself from making an extraordinary commitment to anything. The effort you put into attending to everything means tasks get shortchanged. Chasing balance means nothing gets pursued at the extremes, but of course, the magic never happens in the middle, in mediocrity. Magic happens at those extremes. Look at any world-class sporting hero. You won't see them training or practicing for half their available time, giving half their energy and half their focus. They will throw everything at their goal. When you're truly honest with yourself and clear about what you're aiming for, ask yourself this question. Do you have time to sit in the middle? If you want extraordinary success, it does require extraordinary amounts of focus and commitment. And the truth is that's just not going to suit everyone all of the time. Many people don't want to operate at the extremes. So maybe for some, finding that middle ground is just the right place for now. But I believe that sometimes we should stop trying to achieve a balance and focus on prioritizing. Be sure about what you're trying to achieve and give it all the time it demands. It might mean that things get extremely out of balance for a while. But please don't expect amazing results from the middle of the road. Please do subscribe to my YouTube channel below and I'll alert you to new videos, details of my live events that you can attend and other updates. And of course, you can always visit my website for more information.